were actually invited, but not by Panama. We were in Honduras getting ready to do a run to Haiti during the cholera epidemic. And in the same week, 2 expats reached out to us. One was a South African couple, a cruising couple that were living in Bocas. And the other was an American expat hotel owner in Bocas. They did not know each other. So this was totally independent of each other. The same week, they reached out to us on Facebook, kind of going like, hey, if you ever thought about coming here, there's all these indigenous villages with no access. There's this nursing home that's, really in pretty terrible shape. And we thought, well, we could head down that way. We looked at it on paper and on Google Earth and all that stuff. And we went, this might actually be interesting. And, then they put us in touch with the mayor, who at that time, he had been a physician. So he let us, work under his license. A lot of things kind of came together to facilitate it. And really, like within a few weeks of our arrival there, we were astonished at the lack of access because, Panama is not, it's a middle income country, and Panama has money, which in some ways makes the disparity, between health access, like for our population and other Panamanians, much harder to stomach. In a much poorer country like El Salvador or Guatemala, any country can always be doing better, but at least the lack of access, or lack of health services there would be, certainly explainable and maybe a little more excusable because of the lack of resources, period. In Panama, I always feel like it's explainable, but not an explanation that we like. And it's certainly not excusable, because they have that revenue. So we realized, okay, Panama has this infrastructure, it has security, it has this big area where, the life expectancy is 15 years less than the rest of Panama. This will be a great spot for our first permanent rural healthcare service. On day 1 of a medical mission, you can tell someone they have diabetes. On day, 3,652, you're working with, National Ministry of Health for a country, adjusting its, guidelines for the treatment of diabetes. And so we wanted to have that kind of long-term impact. And we really have, our relationship with the Ministry of Health there is really strong. And our relationship with this elusive indigenous population is unique. I don't think anyone else has a relationship with this population like we do, because most of their interactions with outside groups for about 500 years have been along the lines of, hey, we really like your land. Why don't you just scoot along? And it really, we had to overcome that in the first few years, and really we just overcame it by keeping our promises, showing up when we say we're going to show up. If we said we were coming back or bringing something, we would bring it back. And really sometimes going above and beyond from their point of view, for patients that they would normally assume would just never have been taken care of. And often it wasn't anything too crazy. I'll send you a video it's the one I often show. It's a very typical deployment. It's just another day. It happened to be our first visit to that community. And while we were there, a woman who had given birth started bleeding out. And, what she really needed to do was transport to hospital, but no one had enough gas to do that. And so we transported her to hospital, and it cost us about, $180 in fuel. And, she turned out great, instead of dying. And, but the community were so astonished that we would do that, that after that, of course, then people would bring us everything.
Not going to carry her in that, but that sheet we'll use to cover her.
Watch the wires.
I'm here. I've got it.
Watch the wires. Watch the wires.
We'll take her from here to Almirante. If we call ahead, we can get her onto an ambulance direct to Changanola, where that's the only place she's going to have a hope. Yeah, the baby's going to go with the mom. I'm Dr. Benjamin LaBrot, the founder of the Floating Doctors Medical Team. We're a nonprofit medical team using our expedition vessel to deliver mobile health services to remote, underserved communities throughout Central America.
I was just examining this lady's ear, and we found some legs a bug in there. Yeah, that's great.
This is the Rio Caña. Obviously, there's some things about this community in particular that are good for people's health. I mean, this is beautiful. This is about a slower pace of life. And here's the first barrier right there, a big bar at the entrance to this river that has big surf. And if you're on this side of the bar and you need to get to the other side and then travel 50 or 60 miles through, a stretch of ocean that is extraordinarily challenging, you're not getting there.
We didn't know what to expect because it was our first time there. We didn't know if people would want to see us or not want to see us. It turned out to be very busy. I think we saw 124 people on the first day, which is massive numbers for the group of us that were there. I mean, the thing about Floating Doctors, the reason it's different from home is so many different things come in the door. You never know what to expect.
So if we have to take this ladies, we're not going to pound across 50 miles of heavy ocean swell, which would probably kill her before we got there.
But we need a Spanish speaker because at least you can talk to her. She's so scared.
Supposedly all the placenta came out okay, but she's still bleeding. And I looked at the pile of, bloody rags and stuff that had been collected, and I was like, holy moly, she's no longer responsive.
Watch the wires, watch the wires.
Kim, how is that baby, by the way? Your mom, but is she doing okay?
No, I had a quick look earlier, but good. Has fed a few times today.
Life jackets?
They're mostly under her.
Over.
And there's only one hospital there. That's the regional hospital for the whole province and the only hospital on this side of the mountains where any surgery or advanced care like that can be done at all. All right, finish up.
Push!
Sweet push!
Another day. And in total, this is probably going to cost probably $170 worth of fuel, $180 worth of fuel, which, when we're kind of struggling hurts a little bit, except, is her life worth $180? Yes, it is. And she has 8 kids.
We are back in Alamirante at the moment. We came to see how that lady is getting on that we transferred the other night. It's 3 days later and we wanted to make sure she was doing well. We came over and she is doing great. She looks lovely and the baby is doing well. Oh my God, it was so emotional to see her. And I mean, she didn't say much. She's very timid and shy, but she gave us the most amazing smile. And I mean, that smile said absolutely everything. It was incredible. Oh my God, I feel so good right now. I haven't done much wilderness medicine or emergency medicine or anything before. So to do something like this was exhilarating, it was amazing, it was scary. It was so many things rolled into one. And as I sat in the boat at one stage, I thought, this is why I did medicine. Like, this is what I wanted to be a doctor for. If I could be part of the team who brought this lady to hospital, who saved her life, who saved that baby's life, that means the world. So this is one experience I'll never forget.
So we really have this very unique relationship with this population, which has given us, a lot of access to be able to find out what's actually needed, because they'll actually talk to us, and also to implement things that would be impossible really for anyone else.